Good morning, friends. Today we will going to talk about the oral hypoglycemic agents, which is our part 3 of diabetes lectures. So to start with the classification, oral anti-diabetic drugs can be classified mainly in 4 type of drugs, of which first is to enhance insulin secretion, second is to overcome the insulin resistance, third is to retard the carbohydrate absorption, and fourth is a miscellaneous drugs. So of the first, there will be a total 3 types of drug. So first is KATP channel blockers, which include sulfonyl urease and meglinetide phenylalanine NLO. So sulfonyl urease include tolbutamide, which is a first generation sulfonyl urease, glibenclamide, glipizide, gliclazide, which is generally second generation SU sulfonyl urease, and glimepiride, which is a known by the third generation sulfonyl urease by some people. Meglinetide, which include rapaglinide and nataglinide. Now, to enhance insulin secretion, second or the third group is dipeptidyl peptidase 4 inhibitors, which include sitagliptin, vildagliptin, saxagliptin, teneligliptin, alogliptin and linagliptin. To overcome the insulin resistance, first is biguanide, which is a metformin. So metformin biguanide, we can say that it is a first generation or first line drug for the oral hypoglycemic or anti-diabetic drug, while sulfonyl urease is a second line drug for the oral anti-diabetic drugs, and thiazolidinediones, which is a second in overcome the insulin resistance, pioglitazone, which can be used as a third line oral anti-diabetic drug. Now the third is retard carbohydrate absorption, which is alpha glucosidase inhibitor, which is acarbose, miglitol and voglibose, while miscellaneous drugs, which include sodium glucose cotransporter 2 inhibitor, which is a dapagliflozin, canagliflozin, and dopamine D2 receptor agonist, which is bromocriptine. So this is the classification of oral anti-diabetic drugs. So this is the table which show the various characteristic of the various anti-diabetic drugs. They shows the commercial name, plasma half-life, duration of action, clearance route, daily dose, number of dose, and remarks if any. So I am not going to go detail in this type of table. You may go in deep by your own. Glimepiride, which is also known as a third generation sulfonyl urease, which is a long acting, and they are strong, having a stronger extra pancreatic action. So while glipizide, it is having a hypoglycemic effect, which is hypoglycemic episodes are less and weight gain will be less with glipizide. So further we are going to learn about these drugs in a deep in next few slides. So of which first drug is sulfonyl urease. Significant action being the lowering of blood glucose in normal subject and in type 2 diabetics, but not in type 1 diabetics. As we all know that in type 1 diabetes there was a destruction of beta cells. So there will be no insulin from the beta cell anyhow. So the diseases in which the beta cell is normal functioning, like type 2 diabetes mellitus, in which the sulfonyl urea can squeeze the beta cell in a normal, not in a particularly squeezed, but I am talking like the beta cell squeezed by sulfonyl urease and there will be insulin. Same with the normal subjects. So in short, the beta cells are normal in these two types, normal and type 2 diabetes. So there will be increased insulin and there will be hypoglycemia. Only the second generation SU sulfonyl ureas are employed now. All the first generation compounds have been discontinued except tolbutamide, which is infrequently used. Now pharmacological action. So the rate of insulin secretion at any glucose concentration is increased. At any glucose concentration. So, insulin release is provoked even at low glucose concentration, risking the production of severe and unpredictable hypoglycemia. This is one of the side effects. Okay. So, its action is not depends on glucose. So, at any glucose concentration, there will be increased insulin. So, there will be if there is a less glucose, there is a chance of hypoglycemia. Okay. In type 2 diabetes, does the kinetics of insulin release in response to glucose or meal is delayed and subdued? This is the main problem with type 2 diabetes. So, SUs primarily augment the second phase insulin secretion with little effect on the first phase. So, generally, there will be a insulin secretion in us will be in two phases, first phase and second phase. First phase will be last for 10 minutes and after that there will be a second phase, which is having a plateau effect up to the 2 to 3 hours of mean. So, this is the general first and second phase, how it works. So, generally SUs augment the second phase of insulin secretion. After a few months, the insulinemic action of SUs decline due to down regulation of the sulfonyl urease receptor on beta cells. Okay, we will see where it is situated, but improvement in glucose tolerance is maintained somehow. Now, mechanism action, how it increases the insulin secretion of second phase. How? So, main action on beta cell to stimulate the insulin secretion and reduces the blood glucose, all we know. It reduces the permeability of the potassium by competitively blocking the sulfonyl urease SUR1 receptor present on ATP sensitive potassium channel. So, it will depolarize, hence ultimately enhance the calcium influx and degranulation and ultimately increases the rate of insulin secretion. We can see in the diagram. First of all, you can see the sulfonyl urease or meglitide receptor SUR1. When it will bind to these receptor SUs, the potassium exit will be decreased. Potassium will be increased intracellularly. So ultimately depolarization and ultimately calcium entry into the cell will be increased. So ultimately calcium will act on insulin granules and it will be exocyted and ultimately insulin will be released. Okay. Same when there is a peptide GLP-1 like glucagon like peptide will be act on their receptor. There will be ultimately ATP to cGMP ultimately increased and they will also exocyte pancreatic beta cell insulin granules and ultimately insulin secretion will be increased. DPP-4 inhibitor which inhibit the degradation of GLP-1 or GIP, which are the glucagon-like peptide or which ultimately increases the insulin secretion. So lifespan of the GLP-1 and GIP will be increased and ultimately there will be a insulin secretion will be seen. So this is the mechanism of action of sulfonyl urease. Pharmacological action, it increases the insulin secretion and ultimately decrease glucose. This is pharmacological action. Due to that, they increase second phase insulin secretion. This is pharmacological action. They increase insulin secretion which is not dependent on glucose and there will be a chance of hypoglycemia, which is pharmacological and also a side effect. But how they increases the insulin secretion, this is mechanism of action. Second actions which include they suppresses the glucagon level which is opposite to insulin, which ultimately contribute to hypoglycemic effect, which is though the minor effect but they do like that. They bind to sulfonyl urease receptor on potassium channel in extra pancreatic cell, mainly in liver. So increase in number of insulin receptor and or post receptor action. After binding to the receptor, there will be a post receptor action is also seen. So it is also increased. So improving the translation of receptor activation. Fourth is they are having an additional effect of increased sensitivity of peripheral tissue to the insulin, and hepatic degradation of insulin is also slow. So by these 5 actions. First is insulin secretion is increased, second is glucagon secretion decreased, third is insulin receptor is increased and their post receptor action is also increased. तो इंसुलिन भी बढ़ेगा और इंसुलिन के रिसेप्टर भी बढ़ेंगे, ठीक है. इंसुलिन बढ़ेगा, ग्लूकागॉन घटेगा, इंसुलिन के रिसेप्टर बढ़ेंगे. They increases the severe sensitivity of peripheral tissue to the insulin due to this receptor action and all, and ultimately hepatic degradation of insulin is, तो इंसुलिन बढ़ेगा लेकिन उसका डिग्रेडेशन विल बी डिक्रीज. सो दीज आर द टाइप्स ऑफ एक्शन बाय which insulin sulfonylurea is active. Pharmacokinetics, they are well absorbed orally, highly protein bound, 90 to 98%, low volume distribution, onset of action is approximately 1 to 3 hour, duration of action 24 hour. Second generation is approximately 100 times more potent than first generation and excreted in urine. Now interaction. Drugs that enhances the SU actions may precipitate the hypoglycemia are the drugs which can displace it from protein binding. So plasma protein binding phenomena we have been discussed in general pharmacology. In last slide we have seen that 90 to 98% plasma protein binding. So when the drug will displace it, there will be a increased concentration or amount of SU in plasma and increased effect. So phenylbutazone, sulfenpyrazone, salicylate and sulfonamide. Second, the inhibit the metabolism of excretion. So the enzyme inhibitors, cimetidine, ketoconazole, sulfonamide, warfarin, chloramphenicol, acute alcohol intake. So these can cause inhibit metabolism and ultimately increase action. Synergize with or prolong pharmacodynamic action. So salicylate, propranolol, sympatholytic antihypertensives, lithium thiophenyl alcohol. These are synergized with or prolonged pharmacodynamic action. Drugs that decreases the sulfonylurea action. So they induce enzyme inducer, phenobarbital, phenytoin, rifampin, and chronic alcoholism. Opposite action or suppress insulin action are corticosteroid, thiazide, furosemide, and oral contraceptive. Adverse effect of sulfonylureas which include hypoglycemia. We have discussed. Most common in elder patient with impaired renal and hepatic function with long-acting agents. Increased weight. Insulin is an anabolic enzyme. We all know. So 1 to 3 kg due to insulinemic action of SUs. Others are nausea, vomiting, flatulence, diarrhea, and constipation, headache, and paresthesia. These are the side effects. Now, hypersensitivity, rashes, photosensitivity, purpura, transient leukopenia, and rarely agranulocytosis, flushing, and disulfiram-like reaction after alcohol is reported to occur in some individual. Disulfiram-like matlab after taking the sulfonylurea or if we take the alcohol, so there will be a disulfiram-like reaction will be seen. So type of negative reactions, matlab alcohol will not be tolerated by the particular person. So various side effect of alcohol taking after sulfonylureas will be seen. Safety of SUs during pregnancy and nursing mother is not established, and insulin is the drug of choice at that time. Other is meglinitide analogs, which is also act by insulin secretion enhancement. So of it rapaglinide, which is action similar to SUs by blocking ATP sensitive potassium channel in beta cell. Okay. Fast onset, short lasting insulin release. So pattern of use is different from that SUs. Administration before each major meal to control postprandial hyperglycemia. Dose should be omitted if meal is missed normal. Indication, it is indicated only in selected type 2 diabetics who suffer pronounced postprandial hyperglycemia or to supplement the metformin or any other long-acting insulin. Pharmacokinetics, it is metabolized by liver and excreted through the kidney. Adverse effect includes hypoglycemia, headache, dyspepsia, arthralgia, and weight gain. Other is nataglinide, which stimulate the first phase of insulin secretion, rapid onset, shorter duration. Ingested 10 minutes before meal, it limits the postprandial hyperglycemia in type 2 diabetics without producing late phase hypoglycemia. Little effect on fasting, blood glucose level, and episode of hypoglycemia are less frequent than with SUs. So major difference between SUs, sulfonylureas, and meglinidides are SUs are acting on second phase of insulin secretion, while meglinidide analogs are acting on first phase of insulin secretion, which is rapid and short acting. Adverse effects include dizziness, nausea, flu-like symptoms, and hypoglycemia. Now the biguanides, which includes the most ambient drug metformin. Metformin mechanism action, they do not cause the insulin release, but presence of insulin is essential for them to act. They are euglycemic, but not the hypoglycemic. SUs and meglinidides are hypoglycemic, while biguanides are euglycemic. Activation of CAMP dependent protein kinase to play a crucial role in mediating the action of metformin. So, which are the action by which metformin acts? So, it inhibits the hepatic gluconeogenesis and hepatic glucose output. This is the major action. ग्लूकोज को बनने नहीं देगा लीवर में, और बनेगा तो उसको रिलीज नहीं होने देगा, तो अल्टीमेटली बॉडी में वो ग्लूकोज घटाएगा. ओके, इट एनहांसेस द इंसुलिन मीडिएटेड ग्लूकोज अपटेक एंड डिस्पोजल इन स्केलेटल मसल एंड फैट. सो अल्टीमेटली इट इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस इज which is exhibited in type 2 diabetes, which is overcome. This translates into glycogen storage in skeletal muscle, reduced lipogenesis in adipose tissue, and enhanced fatty acid oxygen can be seen. It interferes with the mitochondrial respiratory chain and promotes the peripheral glucose utilization, same like the previous one almost. Slowing of the glucose absorption from the GIT, increase availability of glucose for its conversion to lactate by enterocytes. Unlike sulfonylureas, it does not lower blood glucose level in normal person. Besides the lowering of elevated blood glucose level, it is also lowers LDL, VLDL, and elevate the HDL. So these are the various effects. First is on the liver cells, ग्लूकोज बनने नहीं देगा, बनेगा तो रिलीज नहीं होने देगा. सेकेंड इज ऑन द इंसुलिन रेजिस्टेंस, तो जो पेरिफेरल में ग्लूकोज अपटेक स्केलेटल मसल और फैट में है तो वो ज़्यादा हो जाएगा. तो फैट क्या होगा उसमें, तो ग्लाइकोजन स्टोरेज इन स्केलेटल मसल, ग्लाइकोजन स्टोरेज जो है वो स्केलेटल मसल में बढ़ जाएगा और फैटी एसिड ऑक्सीडेशन और वो सब कम हो जाएगा. थर्ड इज इंटरफियर, मतलब प्रमोट्स द पेरिफेरल ग्लूकोज यूटिलाइजेशन थ्रू द एनारोबिक ग्लाइकोलाइसिस. एनारोबिक ग्लाइकोलाइसिस भी वो बढ़ाएगा पेरिफेरल ग्लूकोज यूटिलाइजेशन. एंड लास्टली ग्लूकोज एब्सॉर्प्शन डिक्रीज कर देगा. और ग्लूकोज के अलावा उसका वो वेरी, इसलिए I have highlighted it, the very good effect on lipid profile also. So dual action, as there is an increased chance of atherosclerosis in diabetic person, as we have seen in first lecture. It is a beneficial effect that it also decreases the VLDL, LDL and increase HDL, besides decreasing the glucose level also. So it's a very good effect of metformin. This is one of the reasons why metformin is used as a first line drug. Okay, so ultimately ग्लूकोज बढ़ाएगा, तो जो भी एक्शन है उसकी ग्लूकोज रिलेटेड है. ग्लूकोज का प्रोडक्शन कम कर देगा लीवर में, अगर बढ़ेगा तो रिलीज नहीं हो देगा, रिलीज हो गया तो जो पेरिफेरल में है यूटिलाइजेशन ग्लूकोज का फटाक से स्केलेटल मसल एडिपोज टिश्यू में फटक से वो ले लेगा तो बॉडी में कम रहेगा, ग्लाइकोजन बना देगा और एनारोबिक ग्लाइकोलाइसिस बढ़ा देगा, जो ग्लूकोज का डिग्रेडेशन है तो अल्टीमेटली वो बढ़ा देगा और एब्सॉर्प्शन भी कम कर देगा. सो अल्टीमेटली आई एम रिपीटिंग 1 to 2 times because it is very IMP to learn about the mechanism action, how biguanide acts, how metformin acts. ओके, सल्फोनाइल यूरियस का जो भी एक्शन था वो इंसुलिन के इर्द गिर्द घूम रहा था और इसका जो है ग्लूकोज के इर्द गिर्द घूम रहा है ना. हाफ लाइफ 2 to 3 hours, ड्यूरेशन ऑफ एक्शन इज 6 to 10 hours. Instead of increase in appetite, it causes anorexia. So it is the drug of choice for the obese patient with type 2 diabetes mellitus. This is also a very good action. Obesity होता है अभी, most of the patient is having a due to lifestyle changes or due to food habit changes, obesity is one of the common problem. So diabetes और obesity साथ में होगा तो drug of choice metformin. It can be combined with the sulfonyl urease meglinitide. This is also one of the advantage, sulfonyl urease meglinitide and with glitazone to treat insulin resistance syndrome. It reduces the risk of macrovascular as well as microvascular complication. मैक्रो एंड माइक्रो ये दोनों एक साथ कम ड्रग करती है. मेटफॉर्मिन इज वेरी बेनिफिशियल बाय डिक्रीजिंग बोथ मैक्रोवास्कुलर एंड माइक्रोवास्कुलर कॉम्प्लिकेशन. एडवर्स इफेक्ट एब्डोमिनल, वेरी लेस एडवर्स इफेक्ट, एब्डोमिनल पेन, एनोरेक्सिया, ब्लोटिंग, नोजिया एंड मेटालिक टेस्ट विच इज माइल्ड, डायरिया, tiredness which tend to subdue with time. It does not cause hypoglycemia except in overdose. Lactic acidosis can occur but rare. In a long term use decreases the absorption of vitamin B12. Contraindication, renal insufficiency, risk of lactic acidosis increases. Hypotensive states, heart failure, severe respiratory hepatic disease and alcoholic. These are the contraindication. Okay, renal insufficiency, hypotensive state, heart failure, severe respiratory, hepatic disease, alcoholics. Dose is 0.5 to 2.5 gram daily. In non-diabetic use of metformin, it is used to treat the hirsutism in the patient with PCOD. It is also a very common disease in girls or women nowadays, which is one of the leading cause of infertility in our society. PCOD, polycystic ovarian disease, which by using the metformin, decreases the glucose insulin resistance, glucose tolerance. So fertility of this woman can be restored. Advantages of metformin: it is not hypoglycemic, it is euglycemic. So episodes of hypoglycemia will be rare. So it's a serious side effect. So advantage it is a weight loss promoting. Okay. Has a potential to prevent the macrovascular as well as microvascular complication. There will be no acceleration of beta cell exhaustion or failure in type 2 diabetes mellitus. When we are using sulfonyl urease, it is like squeeze the beta cell and release the insulin. But in the metformin, it is not like that. So beta cell destruction or exhaustion or failure will not be seen like sulfonyl urease in metformin. Anti-hyperglycemic efficacy, HbA1c reduction which is 0.8 to 1.2%, which is equivalent to other oral hypoglycemic drug. Combined with any other oral hypoglycemic or anti-diabetic drug, it prevents the new onset diabetes mellitus in obese, in middle-aged subject, but not in non-obese older subject. One more advantage is it decreases the LDL, VLDL and increases the HDL. So ultimately microvascular and macrovascular complication will be inhibited. Now other group is alpha glucosidase inhibitor, of which acarbose. So it is a mechanism of action is complex oligosaccharide which reversibly inhibits alpha glucosidase, the final enzyme for the digestion of carbohydrate in the brush border of small intestine mucosa. So ultimately the final degradation of glucose is inhibited by the acarbose or alpha glucosidase inhibitor. So absorption will be decreased. So slow downs and decreases digestion and absorption of polysaccharides and sucrose. So GLP-1 release is also promoted, which may contribute to the effect. This is secondary effect. GLP-1 glucose excreted through the kidney. Mild anti-hyperglycemia but not hypoglycemia can be seen, and used as an adjuvant to diet with or without metformin or SUs in obese diabetics. A-carbose 50 to 100 mg TDS at the beginning of each major meal. Adverse effect: flatulence, diarrhea, loose stool due to fermentation of the undigested carbohydrate in lower GIT. Cutaneous hypersensitivity and hepatic transaminase will be increased. Contraindication is a bowel obstruction, inflammatory bowel disease, and stage 4 renal failure. So this is about the A-carbose. It lowers the HbA1c by 0.4 to 0.8, but change in body weight and lipid levels is minimal. Study shown that long-term A-carbose treatment in pre-diabetics reduces the occurrence of type 2 diabetes, mellitus, hypertension, and cardiac disease. In type 2 diabetes patient, it decreases the chance of hypertension and cardiac disease or cardiovascular events. And in pre-diabetics, it decreases these three: diabetes, mellitus, hypertension, and cardiac disease. But patient acceptability of alpha glucosidase inhibitor is poor due to uncomfortable GI symptoms. Second is maglitol. It is a stronger inhibitor of sucrase and potentio equivalent to A-carbose. Absorption, which is substantial but variable, excreted by the kidney. It is no systemic toxicities, no Mector, Dimog, and Elitox. These are the commercial names. Now, Voglibose has a properties, use, and side effects similar to that of A-carbose, and dose is 200 to 300 microgram TDS. Voglitor or Voglibose. These are the commercial name. Now, thiazolidinediones, which is a third line drug, of which pioglitazone. It is the only one thiazolidinediones is currently available in India. Rosiglitazone, which was banned in India due to myocardial infarction, CHF, stroke, and death in 2010, but has been withdrawn in Europe due to unacceptable increase of this MIN, all these type of mortalities. But recent trial failed to confirm such risk, and restriction on the use of rosiglitazone have been lifted in USA. I have mentioned this because we can see that how variation or variability we can see all over the world about the particular drug. In India and UK it is banned. In USA after clinical trial it is being used. In all the country there are clinical trial and there are various result. So this type of discrepancy is less with allopathy, but it can also seen that some of the drug is banned in India, in USA, but used in India or any other country. So this type of picture we can see with the drugs. Mechanism of action: it acts as an agonist to the nuclear receptor called PP. Just a minute. So, mechanism of action is pioglitazone generally acts on PPAR alpha and gamma. So, by acting on peroxisome proliferator activated receptor PPAR alpha in the fat cell and muscle cell, they enhance the GLUT4 suppression and translocation. So, entry of glucose in muscle is improved. This is the one action. In adipocyte, PPAR alpha receptor in muscle and fat cell. In muscle, they enhance the GLUT4 mediated glucose entry into the muscle. One action is clear. In adipocyte, turnover and differentiation will increase. Lipolysis and plasma fatty acid degradation will be decreased. This is the action of PP peroxisome proliferated activated receptor gamma. PPR gamma is in adipose tissue and muscle is like that. Now PPAR alpha, which decreases the triglyceride and increases the HDL. It also having an effect in liver. It decreases the gluconeogenesis in liver. So this is the action of pioglitazone, 4 types. So we will see in detail now. It acts as an agonist to peroxisome proliferated receptor gamma in adipose tissue, skeletal muscle and liver. So gamma will promote the transcription of insulin responsive gene which control the glucose and lipid. So ultimately increases the number of GLUT4 receptor transporter in cell membrane and adipose tissue and promotes the peripheral uptake and utilization, and ultimately enhances the peripheral insulin sensitivity. It decreases the hepatic glucose output by inhibiting hepatic gluconeogenesis. We have discussed activation of gene fatty acid metabolism and lipogenesis in adipose tissue will be increased, though insulin sensitizing action will be seen. So lipolysis and fatty acid levels are reduced, adipocyte turnover and differentiation is accelerated. So in addition, they lowers the serum triglyceride level and raises the HDL level without much change in LDL level. Okay, so triglyceride level will be decreased, HDL will be increased, but LDL no change. It also acts on PPR alpha to induce expression of reverse cholesterol transporter and some adipose. So reverse cholesterol transporter we have discussed in the chapter of lipid. Okay. Now these are the various effects in liver: decreased gluconeogenesis, and ultimately glucose release from the liver will be decreased. In liver, in fat, it decreases the lipolysis, lipogenesis will be increased and fatty acid degradation will be decreased. सो लीवर में जो एक्शन था वो डिस्कस कर लिया. अभी फैट में क्या करता है वो हो गया. एंड मसल में क्या होगा तो इंक्रीज GLUT4 डिपेंडेंट ग्लूकोज एंट्री. सो अल्टीमेटली बाय एक्टिंग ऑन फैट एंड मसल इट increases the insulin sensitivity and hepatic, and ultimately these are the PPR gamma or peroxisome proliferated activated receptor gamma dependent actions, while PPR alpha, peroxisome proliferated activated receptor alpha, which decreases the triglyceride and increases the HDL. So these are the in general pioglitazone or thiazolidinediones group of drugs action. Now adverse effect, it is having a weight gain due to fluid retention and edema, headache, myalgia and mild anemia, increased deposition of subcutaneous fat and hemodilution, and reduction in hemoglobin concentration will be seen. Increased risk of heart failure and MI, and few cases of hepatic dysfunction reported. So monitoring of liver function is mandatory while we are using this type of drug. Hepatotoxicity and reduced bone density. It is contraindicated in liver and in older women in liver disease and in CHF. Use, so pioglitazone is indicated in type 2 diabetes but not in type 1. It reduces HbA1c by 0.5 to 1.2. About 25% patient may not respond, so non-responder at 25%, which is great. Greater fluid retention, weight gain and precipitation of CHF after combined use of glitazone with insulin, so avoid this type of combination. It delays the progression of pre-diabetics to over type 2 diabetes. It may help to conserve beta cell function in diabetics as it increases the insulin sensitivity. Primarily used for the supplement SUs and metformin, and in case of insulin resistance. It is not likely to be effective when beta cell failure has set in, which may be responsible for the loss of efficacy of combination of SUs and metformin. It may also be used for monotherapy along with diet and exercise in mild cases. So this is the lecture 3 of diabetes. Next, from incretin we will discuss in next lecture. Thank you.